Okay,
Okay.
thanks.
Lori, go ahead.
The Dutch Prime Minister recently called on Baghdad to end its ban on flights to and from Kurdish airports, saying that it was getting in the way of Dutch military operations. Do you agree with that position? Do you think the ban should end, whether for military or humanitarian reasons?
Yeah, I was looking into this and talking to some of our experts who cover Iraq about this very issue earlier today. And I think this goes back to something that for a couple months now, we've been calling for Iraq and Erbil to sit down and have talks. And I feel like we say this about a lot of nations, but it's really a perfect example in Iraq. That is a situation where they need to work it out themselves. I understand under the Iraqi constitution that the central government of Iraq has management over the airports throughout the country. That's my understanding of the Iraqi constitution, not only the airports, but also the borders. But for that very reason, it's even more important for Erbil and Baghdad to sit down and have talks about the status of its airports.
And you've been saying that for so long, and I've got a different understanding of the airports, but anyhow.
Okay.
I think it's joint operations, but whatever. You've been saying that for so long. The Iraqis do nothing. In fact, they increase the punitive measures on Kurdistan and show no regard whatsoever for your calls for dialogue. Don't you think it's time to publicly pressure Iraq? For example, the German foreign minister, when the prime minister of the Kurdistan region just visited there, said, we're going to make our aid to both of you, Baghdad and Erbil, contingent on a dialogue. Are you inclined to up your pressure? Because so far nothing has happened.
Well, we have spoken about this a lot here. I think you've asked me about it at every briefing, since this happened. We continue to talk with the countries. I mean, with Erbil and Baghdad, we continue to talk with them and urge them to sit down and have conversations. In terms of punitive measures, such as withholding money or anything, we never forecast that. I'm not saying we would do it at all, but we just continue to ask the countries to sit down and have a conversation. It's ultimately hurting themselves by not sitting down. We hope that countries would see the wisdom in that.
If in a month from now we have the same conversation, is there anything you're prepared to do to put more pressure on
Lori,
Baghdad?
I think that's a hypothetical. We'll just follow it and see what happens then.
A month from now, okay.